Chapter 20 Monster Difficulty Progression. Motivating an Opponent Progression Structure. By now, we have 3 enemy types: the dangerous cats, the harmless ants, and the competent and interesting bats. It still makes for a rather limited and finite game. Once the player has experimented a bit and figured out to which degree he can handle the enemies, there are no further hidden depths, evolution, development, or surprises hidden. Building a game is an attempt to tell a story that will entertain and distract for some time, and hopefully not bore too soon. So we look for tools and tricks to keep the game interesting for longer. It could be by varying what the player can do, what his enemies can do, what he encounters, what he can interact with, or which rules are active. One way is to have a chain, a progression, of ever more difficult enemies. The player can then strive for improvements to his technique, skill and toolset, with which he might defeat these progressively stronger enemies. So we'll embark on equipping our game with such a chain of gradually more difficult enemies. Plan for the monster progression structure. We'll introduce enemies A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on, with the higher letters being more dangerous. Our initial effort here is quite generic. For each higher level, we'll just give a monster 5 more hit points and let them hit for 1 more point of damage. If we were to stop there, our difficult monsters would be rather boring and bland, and hardly worth this effort. But this is just meant to form a baseline. Eventually, we'll also give them different behaviors and abilities, so they truly will feel different. Implementing the monster progression structure. We will set up some glyphs to represent our monsters. So in O7 glyph TS, insert the following sequence just after cat. Cat, dog, eye, frog, golem, blah blah. To match this, inserts the same calls here in init glyphs after the call for cat. Building the progression monsters. We'll need a cloned builder, 20 builder 2i, which will add mobs to levels in a new way, with a method aptly named addMapLevelMob. For this, we change add mobs to level and make mobs. You can just delete the code for make ants and make bats and ants, which is no longer needed. So add mobs to level and make mobs will look like this. We can then make the addMapLevelMob like this. So addMapLevelMob will call addLevelMob, and addLevelMob will call a method called spiceOfLevel and a level to glyph method, and then it will call addNPC. We'll have to account for the methods spiceOfLevel and indexToGlyph that we just used. In O7 random.ts, we introduce the new method spiceOfLevel. As the name suggests, its purpose is to sometimes pick levels a little higher. And in glyphMap, in 16 glyph in 1.ts, we add the method indexToGlyph. It allows us to pick glyph enumerations by their raw number index, and attempts to protect us if we trigger a bug by being too clever that way, for example by using a wrong number. Scaling the monster qualities. We will adjust the monsters so they get their hit points and weapon damage based on their level. So we modify addNPC into 20 builder 2i to also consider the level of the mob. The old addNPC used to look like this. And we'll now change it to call setLevelStats, which we will account for in a bit, so it now looks like this. We'll give them hit points as 5 times their level, and monsters will hit for an average of damage, level damage. To implement setLevel attributes in the following way takes care of their hit points. And then, in hit command, we must adjust, so we apply the monster level in the damage calculation, and that looks like this. and updated AI. We will also update our AI a bit. We want a standard monster AI to use for random mobs, which will be a mixture of our newest bad mood features and our earlier AI features. In particular, it shouldn't move as fast as the bats from chapter 18 did. So we make a new 20 AI switcher 2, which borrows the bad AI but reduces its speed from 2 to 1. And of course, the 20 builder 2i.make AI must return this new AI switcher 2. We'll also update make map. It used to prefer the test map. We'll now instead make it prefer the map gen 1. Testing the progression monsters. To try it out and test it, we'll increase the player's hit points to 15. Then we can run the game and try to see how deep we can go before the monster difficulty is too high for our base player. To run, we add this index 20 program runner.